It was December of last year. One of those days that was so unseasonably rainy, it made you wish you'd worn shorter trousers, or rain-resistant trousers, or rain boots that covered your trousers, at least the bottom parts. I was lost in gripping internal monologue when a velvety voice sailed in from my doorway.
Aren't you a little young to be a private dick?
She was all woman. One of those dames who made you glad one of your chromosomes was a Y. Excuse me for staring, but I was taken aback a bit by your X-chromosominess.
I'm glad you noticed.
Yes, to answer your question, I am young. I'm what I call a prodigy.
I'm glad to hear it. I like privates that are prodigious.
It was a bad joke, and bordering on sexual harassment, but I wouldn't falter for it. Mastering the art of metaphor required a level of subtlety that most non-prodigies, normies I call them, could never hope to attain.
Not watered down. An expensive way to treat your guests. Thank you.
So what brings you to my corner of existence, Miss?
Throat. And throat.
Of course, Miss Anthrope.
Well, I've been out of town a couple of weeks visiting my mother in Ohio, and upon my return I noticed some peculiarities in some of the regular patrons at my bar.
Go on.
Well, it's as if they've been drugged. I mean, my regulars used to be the liveliest dames and sons of bitches in this city. And now they're just so boring. Well, it's bad for business. But really, I think it's easiest if I just show you.
By the time we reached Miss Thrope's bar, the rain had slowed. What hadn't slowed was the racing of my thoughts. Could I solve this problem? If so, how? Would an absorbent lining do the trick? Or would it be easier to simply keep a spare set of trousers at the office? I wouldn't have much time to consider it because the scene I was about to encounter would make me forget about my trousers entirely. The energy in the room was as non-existent as a leprechaun licking a unicorn's undercarriage. Yeah, it's my monologue. What of it?
Ay, señorita, I'm so sorry.
No, Ricky, let me.
Of course, Rique was the bartender Anne had hired to run the place in her absence.
Yes, even though he was my husband, he just really did seem to prefer you. And in the end, I just want him to be happy.
Such a sweet thing to say.
It was damned creepy. So you say they weren't always like this?
God, no. They used to be cynical and full of dark secrets. Sometimes almost murderous.
Normal.
Normal.
What was missing was the essential catalyst to the growth of any human spirit, to the driving forward of any story.
You see, Miss Thorpe, the thing that's missing from these people's lives, I can tell you, it's conflict. Rubbing against the grain, bumping uglies. The only thing left is to find out why.
The ladies, as I learned, were named Jeanette and Sarah. They weren't the brightest candles in the wax factory. After the pleasantries were aside, I got down to business.
By the way, my name is Sarah.
Can it, Tomato? What's up with this weird joint? What's going on here?
We don't know. We used to be normal members of society. I hated this bitch. See this scar? She cut me. I did. But lately I just don't feel like it anymore. Maybe I'm turning over a new leaf.
I see.
You bring your own liquor to a bar?
It's a matter of principle, sweetheart. Never trust a bartender to pour him strong enough. Crooks come in many forms.
that's right. You know, lately, I keep drinking and drinking, but I just don't feel anything.
Interesting. Anything else going on around here funny?
Only that Rike never seems to give me my order right. I ask for vodka, he gives me gin.
Interesting. Very interesting. May I? Just as I suspected.
Now, you probably see where this is going. Actually, you probably don't, but I sure did.
Listen up, people. The owner of this establishment has, unbeknownst to you all, been mixing your hooch with a big old helping of agua. Expensive way to treat a guest. Don't think I forgot that little comment.
It's not true. Why would people keep coming here?
Because you diluted your bottles enough to save a buck, but not enough that people would notice. But 3 weeks ago, you left town leaving Rike in charge, with complete instructions including a recipe for watery hooch that you've been pushing for years. Problem is, Cumbia King over here can't read. I'll have a vodka. Yes, sir. So you see, madame, it wasn't that your patrons were being drugged, it's that they weren't being drugged enough. And it is your own dishonest fault to blame. That and the illiteracy of the help. For the first time in their lives, the only non-conflict is due to the fact that these dames are stone cold sober.
Actually, the drinks have always been this watered down. Actually. So, you're wrong.
You're wrong. You're short. Your boobs? Jesus, I've never wanted milk that bad in my life. And you're hiding the fact that you've been sleeping with Rike.
What? What? You bitch! Rike? Rike? Have you been sleeping with her?
What?
Okay, no. Back off, ladies. It was my first.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, come on. Wait. I'm Rike, bitch, press me. Please, sorry, continue, Rike. It's my Get out of here! It's one thing. Go!
As it turned out, it wasn't what was in Rike's drinks that had been subduing the ladies. It's what was in his trousers. Chalk one up for another cracked case for Charlton Sloan. Private Eye. Shit.